Hi Pisces, welcome to your monthly tarot reading with me, Raphael Ray from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for joining me. So before we start, I just want to call into both of these decks all forms of love, like peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So, your actions and your interactions. Oh, and before we start, happy birthday! I hope you have an amazing year ahead. Happy solar return. This is the start of brand new, awesome things to come. So, your actions and your interactions in the world. You got the Nine of Wands. So, Wands is fire. 9 is completion. It's 9 is the end of something. It's the getting to the end of something. It's not quite the end because obviously we're talking tarot here, not just the numerology. But the 9 of Wands represents the 7 of Wands is about standing your ground. The 9 of Wands is about speaking up. This is about you really saying what you have to say. And this time, do not allow yourself to be censored. This time, do not allow yourself to be silenced. This time, do not allow yourself to... don't be a martyr to yourself, Pisces. Don't, for fear of repercussion, isolation, you know, any of that stuff. This is about you really speaking up. This is about you saying, actually, you know what? This is where I truly am. This is where I truly am at. And this is what I need to... This is what I need to say. This is what I need to get off my chest. And you know what? Sometimes it's not necessarily about the things that we have to say to other people. Sometimes it's about the things that we have to say to ourselves. There's been many a time, you know, and usually before quite big shifts in my life, I get really, you know, fired up and pepped up, and I say to the universe, you need to bloody hear this, and I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to be not heard. You're not going to silence me. I've got, you know, like this one little speck of a human being telling the universe off. It's actually quite a funny paradox when you think about it like that. But usually when I do that, when I have that moment of saying, you know what, an Elsa moment for those of you that have seen Frozen. Here I stand and here I will stay until I get what I bloody well deserve. And in order to have what it is that you want, you have to believe that you are worth it. And in order to do that, you have to voice it. You have to vocalize it. You have to give birth to that idea out into the world for it to reverberate out into the universe. It's not enough just to hold something as a silent thought. It's not enough just to hold it as a hope and a wish. You've got to verbalize it. You have to actually speak it out into the world and say, I want this, I need this, I'm worth this. But in order to do so, it looks to me like there's some stuff that you've got to get off your chest, Pisces. Whether it's with other people, whether it is with a specific group, is kind of irrelevant. There are things within you that need to be spoken, and until they are, you will not find peace. It was quite serious, wasn't it, that? You know I love you, and you know I always love my Pisces, and I'm very, very rarely harsh with you, but you know, I need this message to get across to you. You don't just need to get tough with the universe, you need to get tough with yourself. And this is the month where you can do that by being really honest about what it is that you want and need. And you know, you'll know when you get to it, because you start to not shy away from it, but you start to get a bit like, you know, because you don't want to hear it, because you know that you're right, because you know that you're scratching on the right door, you know that you're knocking on the right door. Your money and your materials. Oof. So interesting, because Capricorn had this same card in this same position. Your money and your materials are going to go for a massive shake-up this month, Pisces. I mean, you've got the sun in your sign, absolutely, but you have some surprise expenses coming your way. I would prepare for this and I would hunker down, as it were. In terms of your money, this is not the month for you to lend to people anything that you can't get back. This is not the month to lend out. Anything that you are not able to do without, do not lend out. And I will say this to you: slips, trips, falls, really anything, you know. And it's funny because I said this to them as well. For you guys, I do feel it's going to be more of a physical nature, but this is going to be about knocking into things. It's going to be about, you know, walking into things and really bruising yourself quite badly. Just keep, because your money and your materials isn't just your finances, it's also your physical body, your health. It can be your home, it can be your possessions. With this here, you know, with the Nine of Wands, it kind of, my warning is to just look after your physical self, because I see some bumps, you know, you knocking into things, you know, banging your head on something as you get up. It's that kind of thing. So just, you know, be wary, be alert. And then in terms of your money, this is like an unforeseen expense. It's an expense that you didn't expect to have. And it can be avoided, and the way that it can be avoided is by being vigilant about what what you're putting your money into, about what you're spending your money on. Interesting, because the last 3 signs, Capricorn, Aquarius, and now you, Pisces, you know, so the last few, the deeper signs of the zodiac, seem to have this underlying theme going on where, you know, there's not necessarily just surprise expenses, but it's about being really conscious of what you do with your money, how you view your money, how you work with the energy of your money. The Tower as well. This is about it's about your outlook. It's about what you keep telling yourself. Check what you're telling yourself about money. Check what you're telling yourself about abundance, what you can have, what you will have. Oh, I could never have that. What is that message that you're sending out? That I'm not worth it. I believe that I'm not worth what it is that I would truly like. So I'm going to use the words that continually keep me trapped in that paradigm. This is about because this is about self-illusory tendencies. It's about the Tower moment comes for everybody when you realize the lie that you've told yourself has taken on a life of its own and convinced you that it's actually a reality, when in truth it's an illusion. And when that illusion cracks, oof, up it blows, down it goes. You know, it's one of those moments. But ultimately, this is a liberating experience, and it's a liberating experience because this is going to be about you getting really honest. And if that comes in the form of you saying, you know what, money, I own you, I spend you, it's not the other way round. I can have you, I will have you, I am worth having you. You know, get serious, speak up. Now is the time for you to be heard by the universe, and now is the time for you to really vocalize what it is that you think and feel. And if it's negative and it's holding you back, you need to check that within yourself. It's important. Your communications, so this is your text messages, your phone calls, your conversations, your social media presence, emails, letters if you send them. The Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is a fire sign female, a Leo, an Aries, or a Sagittarius. And this is somebody that is highly spirited, somebody that's dynamic, somebody that's vibrant, somebody that can do a million things at once and still have energy to do something else at the end. When you see the Queen of Wands, you are dealing with somebody that has a very sensual way about them. This is somebody that is really connected to the mysteries of life. That's what the little black cat means. She understands what it is to be mysterious. She understands what it is to interact with the world in its mysterious way. She understands the mystical, effectively. Interesting then that you should get this with all of these experiences that are going on. I believe, while, you know, and when this represents an archetype of ourselves, it's all of those attributes coming out of us. I believe this month, through conversations, and through conversations that are going to challenge you, I really kind of feel like somebody is going to call you out on some of your own stuff. And while it may be uncomfortable, the reason it will be uncomfortable is because there'll be a lot of truth in it. Don't shoot the messenger, because that just ends up as a shit fight and it ends up as a bit of an argument. If you can take on board what they're saying and ask yourself fundamentally, why is it making me feel some kind of way in my internal space? that's a trigger for you. That's not a trigger for you. That is it's like a it's like a eureka moment, a light bulb moment, where you say, okay, I feel some kind of way about that, but why do I feel some kind of way about that? And from that acknowledgement, from this communication or this interaction with this person, you're then going to start to have this moment of, right, okay, I've got to say what I've got to say. I have to get it out. And whether that is to this other person, using them as a sounding board and saying, right, you know what, I'm not having a go at you, but I really have to say this. And if it comes out angry and vehemently, please please understand that it's not about you. It's just, that's me getting that feeling out. That's me purging myself of that negative emotion that's going to try and hold me back. This is about true acknowledgement. And you know what, if you can utilize her, whoever she is, even if it's an aspect of self, if you can utilize her energy, the Queen of Wands, she will show you how to be dynamic. She will show you how to live and to be in the world. She will show you how to do, as opposed to just sit and think and sit and stew. And then finally, in your heart and your hearth, this is your relationship with your significant other or your family and your friends, or even all of the above. That's interesting. Okay, so you have the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords represents quickness. It can sometimes represent aggression as well. Remember what I said, don't shoot the messenger, because it becomes something, more. But it is about you getting out your message. This is about analysation. For those of you that are currently coupled, the Knight of Swords says, don't be too quick to judge your partner, and don't be too quick to think that they don't understand you. Sometimes the problem is that they actually do understand you. Sometimes the problem is that they do really know who you are, and that's the part that you find, not you personally, but all of us, sometimes that's the part that we find uncomfortable, because it makes us think, oh, okay, well, am I that predictable? Am I that easy to read? It's not about you being that predictable, that easy to read. It's about the fact that this person knows you. And if they know you, that means they love you, because they've taken the time to study you. And you know what, if you can get that outside opinion of, right, where am I in my usual cycle? What, when I go through this whole cycle, what would be the next step that I would go through after this? Sometimes getting that outside perspective of where you are on your wheel of change really gives you, it gives you an ability to start to be able to predict what may well happen next, or what you might well feel next. For those of you that are single, I would say this is a month about self. This isn't really a month, about other people. It's not even about sex and sensuality, to be honest with you. I think you'll have some steamy words with people, because the Queen of Wands, like I said, she's very sensual, very sexual. She owns herself, but it's more about knowing that you have that innate sensuality and exuding it, as opposed to utilizing it and doing something with it for you guys this month. And for those of you that in your family and your friends, don't be too hasty. Don't jump on the bandwagon for every invite that comes your way. Take some time to just be yourself. Take some time to really get to grips with what it is that you want to say to the universe, and more importantly, that you want to purge out of yourself. And then finally, your key to the month, what you may well need to know, the extra tidbit of information. You get Temperance. This is a beautiful card. The Temperance card talks about blending. It talks about patience. It talks about finally arriving at a place of spiritual enlightenment. It's the process of spiritual distillation. You are refining yourself. And the way that you refine yourself is by cleaning and clearing your space, your inside. It's about knowing yourself. It's about really taking the time to examine your gold, your personal, it's about taking all of that negative or waste matter and turning it into some form of gold. And the only way that you can really do that is by examining what you have. You know, the whole process of alchemy is turning base metals into gold, but you need to know what each one is so that you can add it in the right measure. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's like making a cake. You know, in order to make a cake, you've got to have butter, you've got to have sugar, you've got to have eggs. And it's the same with this process of distillation. You have to burn out and get rid of everything that doesn't serve you. Although you need eggs in the cake, you don't need the eggshells. It's about sifting through what is important. It's about taking out what isn't important. And the way that you do that is by getting really, really honest with yourself and vocalizing that out to the universe and just saying it. Whatever it is that you need to say, there is a purging that needs to happen for you this month. The Temperance card is a beautiful card. It represents the sign of Sagittarius. There are some deeply philosophical thoughts coming out of you this month. There are some big understandings and realizations coming to you this month. And this will very often, I personally believe it will probably come through dreams. I mean, there's 2 full moons this month again, you know, so that in itself is pretty special. Let me know how this pans out for you. Let me know, you know, do you have your moment where you tell the universe off? And it's not about being disrespectful. It's not about telling the gods what they should and shouldn't be doing for you. It's about getting really, really honest, standing firm in your own power. You know, the phrase comes to mind, I think it was Archimedes or Plato that said, give me one firm spot on which to stand and I will move the earth. You know, I just got tingles as I said that. You're having that moment, right? I'm going to stand here and I will get what I want. But in order to do so, you've got to get real about what you do want, what you don't want, and what needs to go. Pisces, I wish you an abundance of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance itself. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all of your continued support, your likes, your shares, your subscribes, your comments. For those of you that have donated or wish to, you can do so on the links down below. Thank you so much as well to those of you that have. We are truly grateful to you for it. I wish you all of the best. Let me know how it goes. Have a great month and I will see you soon.